The Philosophy of St. Thomas Aquino, a Guide for Modern Life. The philosophy of St. Thomas Aquino, developed in the 13th century, might seem like the exclusive domain of academics and theologians. However, his thought offers a surprisingly practical and relevant framework for facing the challenges of everyday life. Through concepts such as natural law, the virtues, and the relationship between faith and reason, Aquinas provides us with tools for making ethical decisions, pursuing happiness, and living a purposeful life. At the heart of St. Thomas's thought is the idea of natural law. Aquino believed that God has inscribed within human nature a set of basic moral principles that we can know through reason. These principles are not dependent on a specific religion or a set of written laws. They are universal and immutable. The first and most fundamental precept of natural law is, do good and avoid evil. This may sound simple, but its everyday application is profound. Natural law encourages us to reflect on what is intrinsically good for human beings. It leads us to ask, does this action promote life, truth, community, and justice, or does it hinder them? For example, a modern ethical dilemma might be the use of artificial intelligence technology. From a natural law perspective, the question is not simply whether the technology is possible, but whether its use promotes the human good. Does it respect the dignity of persons? Does it encourage truth-telling or manipulation? Does it contribute to a more just society? Aquinas's philosophy encourages us to go beyond mere utility and evaluate actions based on their inherent goodness for human beings. Aquino takes up and expands Aristotle's philosophy of virtues, presenting them not as simple rules, but as good habits that perfect the human being. For him, virtues are stable dispositions that incline us to act correctly and reach our full potential. He distinguished two types of virtues. Cardinal virtues. These are hinge virtues, from the Latin word cardo, on which all other human virtues hinge. They are prudence, justice, fortitude, and temperance. But prudence is not caution or timidity, but the intellectual virtue that helps us discern the true good in every circumstance and choose the appropriate means to achieve it. It is the practical wisdom for making decisions. A justice is the constant and firm will to give to each person what is due to them. In modern life, this applies to honesty in work, respect for the rights of others, and the fight for social equity. A fortitude or courage is the virtue that gives us the strength to persevere in goodness despite difficulties, fears, or obstacles. It is the courage to defend our convictions or overcome an addiction. A temperance or moderation is the virtue that moderates the attraction to pleasures and gives us balance in the use of created goods. It applies to managing our habits, from eating habits to using social media. A theological virtues. These are faith, hope, and charity. According to Aquino, these virtues are infused by God and have God Himself as their object. Faith is trust in God and His revelation. Hope is the longing for union with God. And charity is the love of God above all things and of one's neighbor as oneself. Charity is considered the most important of all, as it is the driving force that gives life to the other virtues. The application of virtues in daily life is immense. Rather than simply reacting to circumstances, virtues offer us a path to personal growth. The pursuit of excellence is not a one-time act, but an ongoing process of cultivating good habits that allow us to flourish as people. In the thought of St. Thomas, faith and reason are not enemies, but allies. He saw them as two paths that, although distinct, lead us to the same truth. Reason allows us to understand the world and ourselves through logic and experience. Faith, on the other hand, reveals truths that are beyond the reach of reason, but that do not contradict it. For Aquino, reason can demonstrate the existence of God and certain divine attributes, but truths such as the Trinity or the Incarnation can only be known through faith. However, faith should not be blind. Reason can help us understand and defend what we believe. On the other hand, faith can offer a broader perspective to reason, helping it avoid errors and find a deeper purpose. In a world polarized between radical scientism and blind fideism, Aquino's vision is a balm. It invites us to use our intelligence to the fullest, to question and seek truth in all fields of knowledge. At the same time, it reminds us that there are realities that transcend mere empirical demonstration, and that a full life may require an openness to the transcendent. Thomistic philosophy culminates in the pursuit of happiness, which Aquinas calls beatitude. This is not a superficial or momentary happiness, but a profound and lasting happiness achieved through a virtuous life and, ultimately, in union with God. By applying St. Thomas's philosophy to modern life, we discover that happiness is not found in the accumulation of goods or in ephemeral pleasure, but in the development of our character, in the search for truth, and in connection with others. A virtuous life, guided by reason and natural law, is not a renunciation of happiness, but the surest path to achieving it. Thomistic philosophy is an invitation to reflection and action. It challenges us to live an intentional life, to cultivate the virtues that make us better people, and to find a purpose beyond ourselves. Through reason and faith, it offers us a guide to navigate the dilemmas of our time and to build a life that is not only successful but also truly meaningful. Ready for more? Hit that subscribe button to join our community. A like helps us out, a comment sparks conversation, and a share lets others discover us.